Let's start off by telling you that Nigeria has received a fresh delivery of military equipment from the United States as both countries deepen security cooperation in the fight against terrorism. The shipment followed joint counterterrorism operations carried out on December 25 against Islamic State-linked militants in Sokoto State. U.S. Africa Command described the items as critical supplies meant to strengthen Nigeria's ongoing efforts against extremist groups without disclosing specific details. The development comes amid broader diplomatic engagement between Abuja and Washington, including a recently signed contract by Nigeria's national security advisor with a U.S.-based firm to engage policymakers in the Trump administration. The latest report highlights renewed U.S. involvement in addressing security challenges in Nigeria's northwest. Now, an analysis of approved budget document shows that Nigerian states allocated a combined 525.23 billion naira to security votes and related operations between 2023 and 2025. Now, data from budget-backed open states indicates that security spending continued to rise even as killings, kidnappings, and violent attacks spread across the country. Now, state allocations increased from 150.47 billion naira in 2023 to 210.68 billion naira in 2025, marking a rise of over 40% within 3 years. Borno, Anambra, Delta, and Benue recorded the highest security vote spending, while several states reported minimal or unclear figures. The escalating budgets have intensified concerns over accountability and effectiveness, with analysts questioning the impact of the spending as insecurity remains widespread nationwide. Meanwhile, residents of several communities in eastern Sokoto State have begun fleeing their homes following fresh threats reportedly issued by notorious bandit leader Bello Turji. The warning targeting Tidibali community in Isa local government area has sparked panic after months of relative calm, forcing families to abandon farmlands and relocate to Isa town, Gidan Hamisu, and neighboring Shinkafi in Zamfara State. The development has worsened an already fragile security situation in Sokoto East, leaving women, children, and the elderly displaced. The renewed tension comes amid heightened insecurity nationwide, including recent deadly attacks in Benue State. And now in Kogi State, the Ayetoro Kiri Bunu Development Association, in collaboration with affected families, has secured the release of 17 more abducted members of the ECWA Ayetoro Kiri Bunu Church. The abductions occurred on December 14, 2025, when over 30 parishioners were kidnapped. Earlier efforts led to the release of 7 victims on the 1st of January 2026, following negotiations and payment of ransom. Now, subsequent releases included 3 individuals on January 12 and 14 more on January 13, bringing the total number freed to 24. The AKBDA and community leaders continue negotiations for the safe return of the remaining victims amid ongoing concerns over security and the human cost of the abductions. Now, the Federal High Court in Abuja is today set to hear a human rights enforcement suit filed by activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore against the Nigerian police force. Now, Sowore, who is seeking 1.2 billion naira in damages, is suing the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, alongside the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Jimoh Moshood, over what he describes as an infringement on his fundamental human rights. Right now, we're joined by our correspondent, Joshua Imarayi, who is currently live at the Federal High Court in Abuja to give us more details of that. Joshua, Sowore is demanding 1.5 million naira in damages, and that's a significant sum, if you ask me. So, would you walk us through the events that led up to this suit?
Well, good afternoon to you, Bless. You recall that sometime last year, when the Sowore official and activist was engaged in a series of protests, 2 different protests, particularly the Green African protest and the Police Lives Matter protest. And after these 2 protests, Sowore was arrested on 2 different times. So Sowore is now here in court seeking redress. He is saying that the Nigerian police force violated his fundamental human rights, and is here to ensure that the courts award him damages to the tune of 1.2 billion naira. Notwithstanding, you recall that sometime last year during November, when the Lagos State embarked on a demolition exercise in Urushoki, the axis of Lagos State, you recall that the Commissioner of Police of Lagos State actually briefed news then and said that he's declaring Sowore wanted. Sowore is also increasing that in suit, saying that the Commissioner of Police has no legal standing to declare him wanted before and without approaching the court of law, or perhaps being investigated and maybe charged about again. So that is where we are on this case.
So Joshua, what is the latest from the courtroom today? Has the matter been heard or was it adjourned?
Today, the matter was heard for the first time, and unfortunately for the Nigerian police force, they were not represented in court. And the court took judicial notice of the fact that this is coming for the first time. And the country representing Sowore, that's the person of Marshal Abdullah, applied to the court that the court should deal the matter worth mentioning, and that a date should be slated for definite hearing. The court heard the argument from the country representing Sowore, that's the person of Marshal Abdullah, and the case has been taken from hearing, and the court ordered that hearing notice be issued and start the Nigerian police force, and the court adjourned to the 10th of March 2026 for trial to begin.
All right, Joshua, before we let you go, we also want to find out what updates you have on the trial of the suspected attackers of St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. Now, you reported earlier that the court admitted additional exhibits against them. Are there any updates to that?
Of course. You know, yesterday the court heard the matter and two witnesses was brought. The first witness, that was the person of SSP. These witnesses are codenamed to state their identity, and they are testifying behind a screen. These two witnesses came to the court, told the court of how the incident transpired that day and how one of them was injured badly on the leg, that the lady walks about with an iron on the leg. So we are expecting that the council representing the DSS, that's the person of Senior Nigerian IGP, will bring forth two more witnesses to testify in court to substantiate their claims against the five accused persons who have been accused of attacking the St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo State.
All right, Joshua Marai there with the update from the courts in the FCT, and definitely we look forward to seeing how this turns out. And now talking politics, on January 8, 2026, the River State House of Assembly commenced impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu. A day later, on January 9, the Assembly announced that it had formally served notices of impeachment on both officials. However, 6 days on, there has been no public correspondence from the office of a governor confirming receipt or acknowledging the notice, raising fresh questions about the status of the impeachment process and the next steps. And right now we're joined on News Central with News Central's Biola Festus in Port Harcourt for more on the developments in River State. Biola Festus, what is the response from the River State House of Assembly regarding all of this development? All right, we're talking about River State's impeachment plot, and we have on standby Biola Festus, who will be giving us more update. But in the meantime, we'll definitely circle back to her. In the meantime, Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo has approved the release of individuals arrested during unrest in Ekpoma following protest over rising insecurity and kidnappings in that area. And the first 7 suspects were freed, with authorities confirming that only verified students of Ambrose Ali University are being released. The protest began as a demonstration against frequent kidnappings and violence affecting students and residents before escalating into disruption and property damage. Okpebholo said the violence was not an organized student protest but criminal acts by non-students, and he dismissed claims of kidnappings linked to the incident as false and misleading. The governor condemned the destruction of markets and warned that anyone sponsoring violence would face justice.
Statements that were recorded from many of them. The thorough investigation was conducted. Like I said, some of them were picked at the scene, while others, some were picked after the incident. We were able to trace them with their photographs. and most of these photographs were even posted by them. We found them, they're all over the place and so on, and there's no this thing. Also videos were also posted. Even in the Onoge's palace, there were videos recorded, and we saw persons, and these were people we tracked, and then we, of course, while conducting investigation, we got intelligence report that led us to individuals that were arrested. We are actually doing a lot to rearrange the security of Ekpoma area generally, and also the Edo Central. So presently, we have been able to have a very firm grip of our expressways because we realized that the problem of kidnapping in Edo North and Edo Central was in two categories: the expressways and the rural areas, whereby farmers are having challenges, and also those that have their houses in remote areas that are bordered by the bushes or the forests have some challenges. So for the challenges that we have in the rural areas, we have come up with some major strategies, and one of which is the Community Safety Partnership. And the Community Safety Partnership entails that we get all the members, the major key stakeholders within the communities, to work with law enforcement.
And as the Federal Capital Territory inches closer to the 2026 area council elections, residents of Abaji are setting a clear agenda for the incoming government regarding their most critical needs. While the community has highlighted the need for improved education, healthcare and market facilities, the most pressing challenge remains the lack of potable water. A majority of residents attribute this crisis to inadequate power supply, which has crippled the capacity to pump water for daily use, leaving taps dry for extended periods. This situation has forced households to seek expensive alternatives, with many spending daily on fuel for generators, while others have been compelled to invest in solar energy to ease their plight.
We don't know exactly what is happening to our light. If there is no light, we don't have water, because that is the challenges that we are facing now. As you can see, we are buying truck of water from the place that they were fetching water to our destination now, 1,000 naira, 1,500, 2,000 naira every blessing day. Most of our people, the money that we're supposed to use to feed our family and we ourselves, we are using it, we are struggling to mount a solar, which is not supposed to be.
Because of this light, those who have borehole, they were serving many of us that don't have it. But because of this lack of light, they cannot pump the water for us. So, in fact, there is difficulty in getting water in Abaji right now.
4 good months, no light at all from FCD. I don't know why. This is Abuja. It's part of Abuja, and don't know why we are facing this heavy problem. In the actual sense, the impact is not fair. It's negative, somewhat negative. So we want the government to assist us, more especially water.
We want a government to assist to mount a solar light and this old, borehole. If we can add another digging of another borehole, but government make sure put a solar so that 24 hours we can get light.
You're live with us on the 12 Report. We go on a short break, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. All right, we're still talking about the impeachment proceedings against the River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, and we have Biola Festus, who's on standby to give us more updates. Biola, what is the River State House of Assembly saying about the governor's failure to publicly acknowledge the impeachment notice?
Yes, Blessing. I was trying to explain earlier that although the River State House of Assembly has re-emphasized on 2 occasions that they were still proceeding with the impeachment procedure against the governor and his deputy, the governor has not officially or through any official means notified the public of receipt of that impeachment notice. Yes, the House of Assembly had on the 9th of this month said they have transmitted that notice of impeachment to the governor through the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Martin Amewile. But there's not been any indication from the part of the governor or his deputy that he has received or acknowledged that notice of impeachment. Well, in between, we've had two members of the House from different constituencies come forth to say they are appealing to their colleagues to tamper justice with mercy in their term. And we think that impeachment move. They say yes, although the governor, according to them, has committed a constitutional infringement, their colleagues should rethink that impeachment in order for peace to prevail in the state. Blessing.
So has the Assembly provided any evidence or details on how and even when the notice was served on the governor and his deputy?
Well, in the statement that the House chairman on public complaints released, he did not mention what means or what mood that impeachment notice was communicated to the governor or his deputy. That statement only said that the House Speaker had forwarded the notice to the governor and his deputy. So the means of communication was not included in that information that they made available to the public. Let's report that in 2024, there was also this issue of correspondence between the River State House of Assembly and the governor, when the governor went to the assembly quarters and he was locked out, and their defense was that the governor never informed them that he was coming. There's also been cases of the governor's office saying they had sent a correspondence to the House of Assembly on day and time to present the budget. And the Assembly had also said, no, we did not receive any correspondence from the office of the governor. So this trail has been there. This breach in communication, so to speak, has been there from the time of from the beginning of this political tension in River State.
So before we let you go, Biola Festus, what has been the reaction from the governor's camp or key political stakeholders in the state?
Well, those who are loyalists of the governor, they rather remain silent on this notice of impeachment or this impeachment saga. When you approach them, they tell you to hold on. Well, it is not as though it is compulsory for the governor to respond within these 7 days or make it public that he has responded. There are procedures to this impeachment proceedings. So the governor can either choose to respond or be silent or respond through his lawyer. But that does not mean the process will not go on. The next process now would be the Attorney General would be the Chief Judge, I beg your pardon, of the state to set up a panel of investigation to ascertain whether or not the allegations leveled against the governor are true or unfounded. But until that, the citizens also have their voice. I have someone here with me who said he would like to lend his voice to this whole impeachment saga. Thank you so much for waiting. Now, as a River citizen, what do you make of this fight, of this political cause between the governor and the assembly? Does it affect you as a person in any way?
My name is Yesu. I'm from River State. No, this work we are on this Fubara scene. He's a good man because what? The man is a nice man because he gave us work, empower the youth, and we are working in a day that we achieve something. We achieve a lot of good things. No need to impeach the guy. He's a good man. I just wish him a good and best. Let him just speak for us.
Thank you so much. So that was someone that met us and he was like, "Are you discussing the impeachment? I would like to speak." Well, he's also here with his colleague. Okay, so I'll throw a simple question to you. In your own view, as a governor been doing what he's supposed to do, or does it deserve to be removed?
Good morning. My name is Mel. Good morning. My name is Mel. So, the governor, yeah, he's doing his best. I believe so. He's doing his best, but he really needs to put more effort in what he's doing, because we youths are actually expecting him to do more. He should do more, because this new year we need more. We have more expectations from him. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So there you have it, Blessing. The youths, the people are expecting more. But the question is, can the governor actually perform in an hostile environment where he is facing impeachment threats from his lawmakers? Over to you, Blessing.
All right, Biola Festus there with the update on the Rivers State political tension that has been ongoing for a long time now. And now we're talking about impeachment proceedings, and we'll see how that goes. Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates have signed a deal, a comprehensive economic partnership agreement aimed at expanding trade, investment and job creation. Announced by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, the agreement grants Nigerian exporters duty-free access to over 7,000 products in the UAE, covering agricultural, industrial and manufactured goods. Tariffs on machinery, vehicles and electrical equipment will be phased out within 5 years. The deal also allows Nigerian businesses and professionals expanded entry and residency rights in the UAE. Nigeria will remove tariffs on about 6,000 products, mainly industrial inputs and capital goods. The agreement is expected to boost foreign investment, support industrialization and position Nigeria as a gateway to Africa's continental market. And now, in a move aimed at strengthening traditional institutions and improving grassroots governance across Delta State, Governor Sheriff Oboveri has commissioned and presented official vehicles to members of a state council of traditional rulers. The ceremony, held at the new government house grounds in Asaba, drew top government officials, traditional rulers and key stakeholders. And now News Central's Austin Azu joins us live from Asaba with more details on the commissioning and, of course, the distribution of vehicles. Austin, how many traditional rulers benefited from this vehicle presentation?
Okay, good afternoon. Not quite long, the governor presented these utility vehicles you are seeing on your screen to 65 traditional rulers who converged here to receive their vehicles. It has been uhuru for these traditional rulers. They are quite happy. And from what the governor said so far, that part of what the traditional rulers have been contributing to the development of the state is peace. And of course, you know, peace is residence in the local areas, and traditional rulers have very constitutional responsibility to ensure peace reign in their areas. And of course, if there are no peace in the local areas, of course, will affect governance, and hence the governor is taking it at this time around to present these vehicles to them. And from what we gathered so far, that over 10 years ago that we had such events that traditional rulers were presented with these kind of vehicles, and 60 Prado Jeeps were presented to them, and of course 5 Land Cruisers were equally presented to them. So we have the Commissioner for Public Enlightenment here, Charles Anyagu, to tell us the significance of this utility vehicle. All right, sir. Okay, tell us what are the significance of these vehicles to traditional rulers?
First of all, let me appreciate you for your choice of words, utility vehicles, because indeed that is what they are. The traditional rulers are in line with the thinking of most Nigerians, is that they have a responsibility to maintain some form of culture and tradition, and as the custodian of the tradition of their different communities, they are able to also mobilize support along that line. But what we have done in Delta under the Oborowori administration is to also mobilize our traditional institution to help us to ensure that there are peace in their different communities. There is no part of Delta, even where we are standing today, that is not under the particular leadership of a particular traditional ruler. In the case of Asaba, where we are, of course, you know we have the Asaba of Asaba. And that means that there are people listening to them in form of what we may call organic support and followership. The traditional norms and cultures of those communities makes even the high and mighty in those communities to respect them. They are able to appoint some as chiefs. So we believe that having them to be part of our governance process, we continue to make it possible for us to enjoy the kind of peace that we're enjoying today. Right. If you do not do that, the tendency is that you are going to be spending that money having to cure peace rather than prevent peace. So I would prefer that we prevent the insecurity rather than having to cure insecurity.
Of course, can you tell us the process of selection of these traditional rulers and these vehicles presented?
We have a traditional institution, the traditional council rather, as a state. The Delta State Traditional Council is made up of a large number of traditional rulers. All those in the council have been provided with this vehicle. And so that is the way it is. And perhaps, like the Uruju said, as we make progress, if there is a need to also look for funds to do one or two things for the others who are not members of the council, then that is not out of place. But what the governor have done today is to make sure that everybody who is in the council, who comes to the traditional rulers council meeting on regular basis, all the way converging on Asaba, to discuss on issues of harmony, to discuss on how we can avoid communal conflict and dispute. If you notice in Delta, we do not have as much communal disputes like they do in a number of other states. That is because we are able to mobilize the traditional institutions to discuss amongst themselves, to see the need for them to relate with one community after the other in form of some form of brotherhood. If you do not do that, the tendency that you are going to be spending so much money having to settle disputes is that, so what we have spent today is nowhere compared to what we would have spent fighting insecurity or having to settle some form of communal clashes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Just one more. We have the Ovie of Great Ijere Kingdom, of course, so that he'll be able to tell us how excited he is about this utility vehicle. Okay.
It's not a mistake in Delta State. I am saying this with all emphasis. Those who doubted his capability, they are now seeing his capacity. The governor is not just performing, he's performing well. From the state of Rose in Delta to the flyover that were hitherto new, strange to Delta State, you will know that he came for a mission. Those of us who know him well, we don't have doubt. We have no doubt in our mind that he will perform. From the construction of the Osubi Airport in 1995-96, we all knew that Sheriff is going somewhere. So whatever is doing in Delta today, it's not a surprise to us. The only thing
all right, because of what's of time, because of the crowd we are experiencing here, we can't continue with the interview with the Ovie of Ijere Kingdom. However, we'll hope to speak to some others, hope to speak to them thereafter. So back to you, Nusira.
All right, Austin Azul, thank you so much for the update on that. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We go on a short break, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, tricycle operators within the Nyanya, Jikoi, Kurudu and Orozo axes in the Federal Capital Territory have taken to the streets to protest what they describe as arbitrary increases in operational charges, taxes and movement restrictions imposed by the authorities. The riders say the measures are crippling their livelihoods and worsening the economic hardship operators and commuters face. News Central's Aisha Tsali is joining us live to bring us more updates and more details from the protest. Aisha, what is the update? What exactly are these people demanding at the moment?
Well, blessings, it's been a rough start of the day for many of the residents who live in these areas. I mean, Kurudu, Nyanya, Karishi, Orozo and beyond, as they woke up to protest, which started this morning up until this afternoon. As you can still see behind me, there are many tricycle operators who are still around protesting, and I would say technically have decided to go on strike due to the fact that they are complaining and lamenting about the increase in fares that they have to pay. And they have said it from time and time that this is not the first time this is going on, and they are not seeing the benefit of these increases. And for many of the residents, there are concerns on their own part that due to these increases in this the tickets that these operators are paying, it will have a ripple effect on the cost of transportation for those who want to commute from Orozo down to Nyanya or Nyanya through Karishi and even Kurudu. But I have with me some of the operators here who would speak firsthand on what their concerns are. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. I'd like to hear from you. What are the concerns and what was the reason for the protest today?
Okay. My name is Ape Matthias. I am talking from Abuja, live from Ajasta. The problem on ground with tricycle riders presently in Abuja is the hike in price of tickets. The ticket fee was normalized to 50 naira earlier on. It was later increased to 100 naira. Now, this January, it was increased to 200 naira each, which we are also having the rumor that a ticket is coming in addition, which is called FCDA, which is the reason why we want to stop it. 200 naira per ticket is a hike on our side because the road itself is not favorable, not to talk of adding up the price of tickets. Coupled with the fact that we are not even seeing the effect of the ticket we are buying. If you go to our park at Nyanya, where we drop passengers, or where we park to even see how we can do one or two things, the park is not well arranged. You go to the park, gallops everywhere. You go to the park, during rainy season, you don't even see where to drop passengers. Passengers with children on their back will be looking for where to hide when it's raining because of their babies. You have to take them all round and round and round shops before you can drop them because of their babies. In addition, the same park, there is a rule going on that we don't even understand. A rule that once it's 10 o'clock, there is a line, there is a rope that will be drawn on that, inside that same park. That once you are not inside the line and passenger mistakenly drops from your keke, you, the driver, ends up paying 3,500 naira as a penalty. Why? We don't know. Inside the same park, you can't even put your keke on reverse and reverse back. If you reverse back, it's a penalty. Take for instance, a tricycle is ahead of you, and you want to reverse for you to be able to go, you can't reverse back. And again, the reason for this same thing, and the major reason is, there are two people fighting for us, which are arrested. Mr. Who? Ostas. Mr. Ostas and Comrade. We are doing this for their release and with immediate effect.
Right. Well, Blessings, you have heard from one of the tricycle operators, and he has basically stated, majority of the concerns of a lot of the tricycle operators in this area, which has led to the protest this morning, and also, I would say, the strike that they are going on, saying that they are calling on the authorities to see to it that this arbitrary increase in the taxes and the monies that they have to pay are reduced or even stopped, and also their members that have been arrested by the authorities are also released. Although this is going to definitely affect the residents who would have to now pay more when they decide to come back, into Operation Blessings.
All right, Aisha Sali there with the update on the tricycle riders' protests in Abuja. The Benue State Police Command has arrested 41 persons in connection with investigations into reports of suspected human slaughterhouses allegedly operating in Makurdi, the state capital. All right, to give us more updates on this, we have our correspondent Sowore Anyo, who is standing by. Sowore, what has the Benue State Police Command concluded regarding this? Have they given any update on this, and have they made any other findings?
Thank you very much, Jason. So far, the police have not outlined confirmed if there is alleged human slaughterhouse here in Makurdi. So as you can see behind me, Kawi Street, we go down just by the left side of the road, that's Kawi Street, and it's one of the streets that is well known in Makurdi and well treaded by most residents who believe that a lot of criminal elements are in that location. And we've had a lot of these stories coming up every now and then that people are lured into that street and then, killed for whatever reason it is that is going on. However, the police yesterday busted the area and took away 41 persons, but they have not stated, they have not confirmed that they found a slaughterhouse, human slaughterhouse. They said arrest is in connection with and that hopefully the persons that have been arrested may have some information that could eventually, lead to the arrest of perpetrators of the act. But for now, there has been no confirmation in this regard. However, there's been a lot of fear around town regarding this. That shocked a lot of persons, and people are becoming really scared, especially given the fact that it is often use motorcycle operators, that is the Okada riders, to carry out this task. So a lot of people are now becoming scared of even stepping on, a motorcycle to go anywhere because they feel that they could get hypnotized. From some of the residents I reached out to today area. They said sometimes the passengers are hypnotized and then taken to this location. So they have no idea. Some of them, when they escape, they can no longer even access the area. They have no knowledge of where they left and how they got there. So that is what is going on for now. We've not heard from the police, but the persons in custody are going to be questioned in connection to this, and hopefully we are going to get some answers at the end of the day.
All right, so we're seeing you there with the update on the security alert in Benue State. Now, as the Federal Capital Territory inches closer to the 2026 area council elections, residents of Abaji are setting a clear agenda for the incoming government regarding the most critical needs. All right, many thanks for staying with us. Now we continue with election matters in East Africa, where Ugandan authorities imposed a nationwide internet shutdown ahead of the country's presidential election, as longtime President Yoweri Museveni seeks a 7th term. Internet services, including mobile and fixed broadband, were suspended amid a tense campaign marked by heavy security deployments in Kampala and restrictions on opposition activity. The Uganda Communications Commission ordered the blackout to curb online misinformation, electoral fraud, and potential unrest, though critics warn it undermines transparency and limits freedom of expression ahead of Thursday's vote. Now, the United States has announced it will terminate temporary protected status for Somali nationals living in the country, requiring those affected to leave by March 17, 2026, amid an expanding immigration enforcement effort. Officials from the Department of Homeland Security say conditions in Somalia have improved enough that special protections are no longer justified, and that thousands of Somali migrants, including hundreds in Minnesota, must now prepare to depart or face deportation. The move comes alongside a major federal crackdown on Minnesota, where heightened immigration operations have triggered protests and community tension. Iran's judiciary chief has ordered fast-track trials for suspects arrested during the recent anti-government protests, which authorities have described as riots. Mullah Hussein Ejei, while speaking on the state television following his visit to a Tehran prison holding detainees, said serious crime cases must be handled quickly. Iranian media report he called for some trials to be conducted publicly after reviewing cases for several hours. Human rights groups say thousands of protesters have been arrested nationwide and warn the judiciary may rely heavily on capital punishment as security forces tighten control. Morocco head coach Walid Regragui has played down speculation about his future, insisting he's unfazed by the possibility of losing his job if the Atlas Lions are knocked out by Nigeria in Wednesday's AFCON 2025 semi-final in Rabat. Speaking ahead of the high-stakes clash at the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium, Regragui said his focus remains firmly on preparing his players and winning games, not on personal consequences. The semi-final pits two of the tournament's standout teams against each other, with many observers tipping the winner as a strong favorite to lift the trophy. Right now, our correspondent Udoka Njoku is in Rabat and brings us the latest from the semi-final venue. Udoka, what is the atmosphere like in Rabat as the city prepares for the heavyweight semi-final between Morocco and Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much, Blessings. The weather and feeling right now is quite cozy because we're looking forward to that game between Nigeria and Morocco. It is game day, but of course for the fans here in Morocco, this part of Rabat to be precise, they are all looking forward to a big win for the Atlas Lions of Morocco. So it just promises to be an exciting affair between these two giants of the AFCON and of course giants of African football as far as we can see and say about the two of them, the Atlas Lions and the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Vantage point, how are both teams shaping up in the final stages of the build-up ahead of the kickoff tonight?
We had the final training session yesterday evening at the sporting complex where Nigeria trained around 6:15, while Morocco trained about 5:45 p.m. And for the players, the only player we could speak with from Morocco was looking forward to the game in case that game goes into penalties. He said his team and his boys are ready to go all the way. While for Nigeria, we were also caught up with their training, and they were also looking forward to the game and also positive looking ahead of this fixture, because it is a game that will seal a final placement for the winner as they await the winner between Egypt and Senegal.
All right, Udoka there with the updates on sports, and definitely we'll bring you more on sport on In the Game. Well, that's all on the 12 report today. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen, because we want to see what you see, and do also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Gold TV channel 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and of course live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Musugu.